Hello, Guru Nation. So I got a request from a viewer. Guys, I'm here with Carlos Emasquita. We'll just call you clinical research coordinator and basically site director.
Are you the lead at this point?
No.
And then Chris Sauber, who is just everything. Wearer of many hats. Wearer of many hats. You know, all kinds of stuff. So you ask and we respond. Okay, somebody asked, guys, can you do a video on all the visits that entail a clinical trial? And I replied, I will do that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, but there are so many different studies and different designs. But we're going to go through some of the most common ones, and then we're going to go through some of the nuances like placebo run-in, treatment run-in period, those kind of things. But let's start with the most basic, okay? So you got screening visit, right? What happens at a screening visit, Carlos?
Get the medical history, you get consent first, then you get the medical history.
No, you get the history first. No, it's not done.
No.
Consent
first.
medical history.
Medical history, inclusion, exclusion criteria.
And basically follow the protocol for that visit, right?
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
Screening visit. Anything else he left out on screening?
Is there only one screening visit?
It could be split up.
So it can be split, but there can also be a number of screening visits, right?
Yeah.
So most studies, 80-90% is one screening visit, right? In which you can split it up oftentimes. But some studies, 10-20%, have numerous screening visits, right? I don't think you ever worked on a study like that at Breakthrough. I'm not sure if you did or not. Do you recall?
No, I remember working on studies where you don't randomize until a couple months in.
Right.
You've done so many visits.
So let's talk about that because that's actually run-in period. Okay.
Right.
So screenings first. Then in most studies, you don't have a run-in. You'll have a baseline visit or what's called a randomization visit. Same thing. They're synonymous. Okay. That's when the patient gets randomized in the cases where there is a randomization, or also enrolled into a treatment arm. Okay, so that's baseline or randomization visit. Now some studies, not most, but some studies have what's called a run-in period between screening and baseline, where there either will be given a placebo or a treatment arm, right? Nobody knows what it is, or they're washed off, which is called a washout period.
Yeah, just turned off.
No, it's not off. Or it's a wash-off period. Yeah, the camera says that, but it's not off. It's either a run-in or a wash-out period between screening and baseline, right? So this occurs in some studies as well, where they're either given a medication until randomization, or they're taken off of a medication until randomization.
It could be any number of reasons, just dependent on the design of the study, the protocol. So there could be a number of reasons to do this. Same thing with the more than one screening visit.
And then you have, so that's baseline randomization. Anything else we should add about baseline randomization?
No, just be careful.
Be careful with the IE criteria, right?
Yeah.
You know, inclusion, exclusion criteria.
Gives you more time to miss something.
Then you have the regular visits, like
So after baseline enrollment, right?
after baseline
Randomization.
enrollment, where you start getting the treatment or the IP.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's open label, right? But there'll still be a baseline visit in that case
Right.
because you're starting the treatment. Then there's just regular visits based on the protocol. Visit 3. So if screenings visit 1 and baseline's visit 2, the next visit will be visit 3, then visit 4, visit 5, and so on. I've seen some studies with like 80 visits.
Oh yeah, and the purpose of these visits is to gather the data to see if the drug is effective
Right.
and safe.
Right. Now, some studies, the way they're designed, they're crossover studies. So what occurs during crossover is the patient gets off of the medication. They're still blinded, but they get off of the medication and are put on the other medication. Sometimes they're testing 2 IPs at the same time, right? Those are crossover studies. But if you're a site, you don't even you're going to be blinded too, so you don't even know what the patient's getting.
Sure.
You're just following the IWRS. Then there's an early term, right? Or a completion visit, right? So that's when the patient either finishes the study as they're supposed to, or if the patient wants to withdraw early, they do the early term / completion visit, or sometimes called end of treatment visit.
Sure. And it's not always the patient's choice to early term.
Good point.
So,
Sometimes the doctor's choice.
or the sponsor's
Or
choice.
the sponsor's choice. Okay. And what about loss to follow-up? That's another visit. It's technically not a visit, but it's considered a visit for documentation purposes. So loss to follow-up's when you just can't find the patient
Yeah,
anymore.
they disappeared.
They disappear. They're not making contact. So
Not they died, they disappeared. And they
Right.
may have died, but you just don't know.
you don't know. You don't know. They could either just not want to come back and not want to tell anybody about it. So it's LTF. You lost the follow-up. There is no visit to be done, but for research purposes, must be documented.
Yeah.
Are we missing anything else? Did we cover all the
Did you-
visits?
Yeah, I was just going to say, did you say follow-up visits?
Safety follow-up. What's this? What's this?
They're just sometimes after the study treatment part is done, you still want to follow.
Not treatment.
No.
No treatment in research.
Study
Well,
Participation.
participation with the
so they're
IP.
still in the study.
Yeah, study participation, they're on the IP, and then now they've discontinued the IP, and sometimes they have to get them back onto something, right?
Right.
They want to get them back onto their normal routine.
So safety follow-up. What happens here?
You're still following them for safety reasons to make sure there aren't any A's after the medication, the investigational product is given.
Yep. Anything else? Patient visits? We cover it all, right? There's
Think-
pre-screening. We never really did a pre-screening visit, but that's
Yeah.
like the name implies.
Right.
You're seeing if the patient qualifies prior to screening them.
And I'm noticing on budget negotiations that some sponsors are actually paying for these visits now.
Pre-screening?
Yeah?
Yeah, but they're not official visits for the study.
No, they're not, but they're paying these study visits. I mean, if they're paying for them, study visit. Not too often do I see this, but I've seen it in a couple of budgets. Kind of
All right.
interesting.
Good. Anything else we missed, or we got everything?
I think that's all the visits. Unscheduled.
Unscheduled. Thank you, Chris. What's unscheduled?
It's not according to protocol.
So,
So-
give an example.
So say your protocol, your study visits are once a month. So patient comes in at month 3, and then between month 3 and 4, when their next visit would be 4, something occurs, right? Maybe there were labs done in month 3, and the labs came back funny. So they got to bring the patient in to redo the labs and review them, or some other reason. It could be any number of reasons to bring the patient back in. Maybe they're complaining about an AE, or even an SAE, or it could be anything. It's just something outside of protocol that's causing another visit.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so unscheduled, maybe the doctor wants them to come in, or the patient just decided, hey, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to go in today.
Yep.
That's an unscheduled visit.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's why I brought you guys both in. You see, I would have forgot unscheduled. Anything else? We're forgetting anything else? We got everything?
I think so.
All right. You guys are good with this one? Thank you guys for doing this. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. You ask them, we'll answer them. Take care.